Do you want to get actionable insights on your website in under 2 hours and at an affordable rate? Well, do I have some exciting news for you. I recently redesigned my homepage and I want to ensure that the messaging is clear. I'm not getting enough inquiries and I want to do a health check to see whether my messaging resonates with my target audience. I want to know, A, is it conveying my core message? And B, do users understand my core service offering? I decided to conduct a 5-second test of my homepage. I chose a 5-second test because it's an effective method for evaluating that depend on strong first impressions and immediate user comprehension. I decided to use this research tool called Lyssna. There are loads of templates that you can use, and you could also recruit participants through their platform. It makes the process a whole lot simpler. So let's set up a test. So I do have the option to use the preset questions that are set up by Lyssna, or I have the ability to create my own. For this test, I've opted for Get First Impressions of Your Homepage template. I did preview the test before making sure this was the right template for me, and once happy, I went ahead and set up the test. Started off by naming the test and filling out all the necessary details for the project. Since I'm only redesigning my desktop homepage, I specified that I only wanted to include desktop only. I then went ahead and set up my screener questions. Screeners are perfect, making sure you get the right set of people for your study. This helps by filtering participants based on a specific criteria. My core audience for my website usually consists of UX designers. Keeping this in mind, I set a screener to make sure that I target these specific groups. I wanted to make sure that I was reaching the right demographics and see if their responses were relevant to them. The questions I added to my screener were, are you interested in becoming a UX or product designer? And are you a brand that wants to promote its products? These questions are designed to ensure that my website targets individuals interested in either UX design or brands seeking to promote their products within the UX industry. I wanted to keep the questions the same throughout the study, and the question was, please look at this homepage design for 5 seconds and remember as much as you can. But I did make sure to change the image to a screenshot of my homepage. You should also adjust these questions to suit your study, but for my test, they were actually relevant and I didn't need to change them. I'm also going to keep the follow-up questions the same, as those are also relevant to my study. So let's preview the test before continuing. This will allow you to see what your participants will experience, and you have the option to make any adjustments necessary. Now on to recruitment. So you do have 2 options for recruiting participants. You can either recruit from the listener panel, which gives you access to a global pool of over 530k participants, or you can create a link to share over your social media channels. For this test, I am going to use the recruitment panel. I want to test with 10 participants and specify a certain criteria. The reason why I'm recruiting is because I want to test with participants with a relevant demographic to my website. If I was to create a link to share via my social media channels, they are more likely to know a little bit more about me, which could possibly compromise the integrity of my data. I'm targeting UX professionals, so I'm going to put in the criteria to target UX UI designers and researchers, as well as individuals in the marketing and sales, as these are the type of people who typically contact me regarding brand awareness as a brand influencer. Now that everything is set up, Lyssna has provided me with an order price, and this allows me to adjust if needed to fit the number of participants within my budget. When you do place an order with a screener, you will need to give an estimated screening rate. This is a percentage of panelists that you would think will qualify out, or the total number available panelists. I'm picking about a 50 to 75% because my screener questions are fairly specific. But don't stress too much if you're not too sure. You won't get penalized if it's wrong. It's there just in order to help the Lyssna team. Now all I have to do is submit my order and wait for my responses. Traditional user testing based on my experience can cost a couple of $1,000s for recruiting participants and paying incentives. So this method is both cost effective and valuable for conducting research. Once the study has engaged its potential users and collected feedback, you can now review a consistent summary of your results. Among my favorite feedback is the heat map, which provides a profound insights at a glance. You're also able to export this data as a CSV if you need to send it over to your clients or stakeholders. The responses come back within under 2 hours, allowing me to see feedback immediately. I was able to view the demographics of my participants, and it was clear that they were from the specific industries that I targeted. Overall, the participants were pleased with the overall design, describing it as simple, friendly, and professional. However, a consistent theme within the feedback, despite my belief that my tagline was simple and to the point, participants disagreed. They left comments such as, "I did not like that. It had a pretty long headline and many lines that were hard to read in such a short time. And I like the clear call to action and photo, but the headline is too long." For future reference, in order to determine which tagline is best, I do plan to test the original tagline and an updated tagline using a test the impact of your tagline approach. This will allow me to evaluate the tagline in isolation, confirm whether or not there is an issue with the tagline before making the complete changes on my website. Based on this feedback, I will be making changes to my website, and this demonstrates how to effectively incorporate user feedback into your design process. Overall, I think Lyssna is a fantastic tool to use. It's such a great tool for getting quick feedback, accessing users easily and quickly. It's been a game changer for all my research projects, allowing me to gather insights quickly. And that's it for this video. I want to say thank you to Lyssna for sponsoring today's video. And if you want to try out Lyssna, there's a link in the description below, so make sure you check that out. And that's it. Until next time, bye!